The first scene of part 3 features Elliot and Shayla in a restaurant. Shayla appears to be really depressed, but Elliot tries to cheer her up by promising to get her out of the mess. During the conversation, Fernando's men abduct Shayla and transport Elliot to an abandoned room, where Fernando is on the phone. Surprisingly, the violent criminal blackmails Elliot to hack the prison's network in exchange for Shayla's life. Following this, Elliot returns home and asks Darlene for help. As per his instruction, Darlene drops several pen drives outside the police station. A police officer picks up one of them and inserts it into his computer. Soon after, the malware is detected, and as a result, the officer hurriedly plugs out the pen drive as well as the power cable. When Elliot discovers that the connection is lost, he becomes perplexed. Meanwhile, Fernando's brother, Isaac, and his man named DJ are at Elliot's place keeping an eye on him. After this, Elliot decides to go out, pretending that he needs to walk his dog. Outside, he approaches Darlene and asks if she created the exploit herself. She responds that she only had an hour and had to copy it from somewhere else. Hearing this, Elliot becomes enraged and informs her that her virus has been detected on the police computer. As they converse, they are approached by DJ, who shows his gun and takes them back home. On the other hand, Angela, who is spurred by her father's ballooning debt, is plotting how to resurrect Evil Corp's decades-old investigation. She goes over the complaint, digs through F Society's data dump, and cold calls all of the lawyers who represented Angela's family and the other plaintiffs in their lawsuit. Only one of the attorneys calls back, and Angela is filled with hope for a brief moment. When she visits the same attorney, the promise is soon broken as the attorney, Nayar, claims that it is not worth it to take internet gossip to federal court and throw it on the strongest conglomerate in the history of civilization. Nayar then shows her a guy in a suit and informs her that he has been convicted of sexual assault twice and is charged again this past weekend. He also assaulted his pregnant girlfriend and bashed her head in with an Xbox. Despite all this, Nayar believes she has a better chance of defending him. Hearing all of this, Angela inquires about what exactly they need to prove their case, to which Nayar responds, a reliable eyewitness. In the next scene, we see Tyrell, who believes that he has exploited the potential CTO, Scott's weakness by swaying Sharon in his favor. He pays a brief visit to Scott, but the latter is quick to inform Tyrell that his silly games are futile because his wife, Sharon, has told him everything. Scott claims he is aware that Tyrell is pissed off after not being able to secure his position as the company's CTO. In his rage, Tyrell destroys his kitchen while his wife, Joanna, who is bemused, continues to eat her meal. She claims that she warned him that Scott was dangerous, but Tyrell can't be cowardly now. According to Joanna, Tyrell is spinning out of control. She then devises a new strategy that still includes Sharon. Meanwhile, Elliot is attempting to hack into the prison's network when Angela rings the doorbell. Isaac orders him to answer the door and send her back. As he approaches Angela, she informs him that she has devised a plan to take down Evil Corp. Knowing that Isaac and DJ are keeping an eye on him, he tells Angela to trust herself and do what she believes is right. On his way back to his room, Elliot comes across Mr. Robot on the stairs. Mr. Robot asks him not to release Fernando because once he is free, he will kill him, Shayla, as well as Darlene. According to Mr. Robot, it's a zero-sum game because they'll all die either way. He claims that Elliot is playing a game he has already lost, and that there is no plan in which both Shayla and he will survive. Despite this, Elliot can't bear the thought of Shayla dying, so he keeps thinking of a way out. Following this, he walks into his room and informs Isaac that he is ready to get into the prison's network. Then, they all drive to the prison, where Elliot places his phone at the security desk, allowing it to detect any kind of wireless signal in the vicinity, and by the time he leaves, he will own its network. He then meets with Fernando to discuss his plan to open every cell. Furthermore, Elliot reveals that he has hacked Isaac's phone and now has complete control, including Fernando's crew, shipments, and the entire operation. He then threatens Fernando with disclosing all of his information if he doesn't let Shayla and him free after all of this. Elliot also claims that he programmed the leak to send every 24 hours unless he continuously disables it. So if anything happens to him or Shayla, Fernando's information will be out. As Elliot walks out of the prison, he discovers that all of the prison's networks are WPA2 protected and cannot be hacked. Just then, his phone connects to the Bluetooth of a police car, making him realize that he can access the prison's network via the police car's Bluetooth. Following this, Darlene approaches the officer in the car and distracts him for a few moments. At the same time, Elliot hacks the officer's laptop and retrieves the login, prompting him to get access to the prison's network. After this, Elliot asks DJ to drive, leaving Darlene behind. Later that night, he opens all of the prison cells, allowing Fernando and the other prisoners to escape. Surprisingly, Fernando orders DJ to shoot Isaac, shocking Elliot. It is then revealed that Fernando was aware that Isaac intended to kill him, so before that, he wiped out his brother. Fernando then hands Elliot the car keys, claiming that Shayla was with him the entire time. Unfortunately, when he goes to check, he finds her dead inside the car trunk. Devastated, Elliot is reminded of his first meeting with Shayla and how, in her presence, he became normal. In their first meeting, the two sat on the stoop of his apartment building, listening to The Cure. Elliot revealed all of his social anxieties, and Shayla handled his issues with bemusement but also with care. But now she is gone, and Elliot is still grieving the loss. In the month since Shayla's death, he has turned into the person he was before ever meeting her. Days at work and nights holed up in his apartment with his only dog. F Society fades into the background of his life, and Elliot does not even mention Evil Corp or Steel Mountain, doing the bare minimum to exist. Regardless, Mr. Robot tries to pick up the pieces of the failed revolution, visiting Darlene and Romero to continue with his plan. At first, he goes to Romero, who has decided to quit the F Society, but Mr. Robot does not let him do so. Second, he approaches Darlene and informs her that his plan is in motion, to which she responds, and the god is laughing. One day, Elliot goes to his therapist, Krista, who tells him that their year together is over, and he has to sign paperwork confirming his sessions. However, Krista does not want to sign the papers as she still believes that he is consuming drugs. In the next scene, we see Angela, who is now represented by Nayar, the same lawyer who brought a lawsuit against Evil Corp years ago. The two meet with Terry Colby's lawyers with a proposition. In exchange for Colby's testimony against the company, Angela will reveal information about his pending litigation. Nayar also demands that the meeting be limited to Angela, Colby, and herself, and that it be held off the record. Colby's lawyer agrees on the condition that they have complete immunity from the meeting, and that only Angela is allowed to meet with Colby. Later in the meeting, Angela proposes a deal to Colby that if he breaks ranks with his former company, Angela will come forward and admit that she broke the chain of custody in the Evil Corp hack. It appears that she is offering Colby a get-out-of-jail-free card, but he does not see it that way. Angela realizes her efforts to avenge her mother and restore her father's life are going in vain, so she reveals everything to him bluntly. Before leaving, Angela claims that if he does not accept her offer, he will lose all respect from both people he knows as well as people he does not know. After thinking for a while, Colby realizes Angela was right, so he calls her back. When Angela returns back, Colby informs her that his lawyers are working on the paperwork, agreeing to deal with her. Following this, she inquires as to whether Colby was present at the meeting when the decision was made to disregard hazardous waste treatment in Washington Township. Initially, Colby hesitates to answer at first, but eventually responds by saying yes. Later, Angela goes to the All Safe, where Gideon asks her to stop lying. According to Gideon, everyone, including Colby, knows Angela did not break the chain of custody, but her admission will doom All Safe, virtually guaranteeing the company's demise. He also warns Angela that her decision will put everyone out of work, and will drown all the families who rely on All Safe. However, despite the lecture, she does not seem to care. As she told Elliot, she is still angry at Evil Corp, and if this is her only way to exact her vengeance, so be it. On the other hand, Tyrell and his wife are at an office party where Evil Corp CEO, Philip, introduces Scott as the Chief Technology Officer of E-Corp. After a while, Tyrell approaches Sharon and calls her to the roof, taking the back stairs so that no one will know. Obliging to the request, Sharon goes to the roof, where Tyrell continues to try to sway her in his favor. However, she refuses to comply with him, claiming that her husband will soon fire him. This makes Tyrell furious, and as a result, he pretends to kiss her and soon takes the opportunity to strangle her to death. As soon as she dies, Tyrell panics and can't believe what he has done. He sobs, wipes his fingerprints off her neck, and flees the scene. The next day, Cisco approaches Ollie and threatens him with leaking all of his information unless he does something for him. Elsewhere, Darlene meets with the other member of F Society named Trenton, who tells her backstory about her parents' immigration from Iran. She also claims that the United States is a dream country, despite the crippling debt her family has accumulated, attempting to normalize their situation. However, Darlene tells her that they have what they worked for and that they only need each other to see it through. Darlene also encourages her, stating that they would not have done something impossible if they had been alone. In the final scene, Elliot is all alone like before, and he has to confide in someone, so he goes to Krista and reveals everything to her honestly. He admits to hacking her, as a result of which he knows her pornographic preferences, her daily routines, and the things she only does or admits to herself. He also says that she cries at times, just like him, because she is also lonely. In addition, he expresses that he wants a way out of loneliness. Subscribe to see more videos like this, turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to watch part 4.